This is the Statistics Project by Valerie, Sarah, and Taylor. Our question was, how many hours do you socialize with your friends outside of school? So for our data that we collected, we found that our mean was 3.59, our mode was 2, and our median was 3. So here's our histogram of the number of hours that students at RTHS socialize outside of school. And as you can see, the highest amount of hours that students socialize outside of school ranged between 2 and 3, with a frequency between 15 and 20. That's about like 16 students. So here is the comparison between females and males. So to the left, we have the number of hours males socialize outside of school, and the highest number of hours was again the range from 2 to 3, with about 16 students. And it's, besides that range, it's pretty evenly distributed. And to the right, the number of hours females socialize outside of school. The highest numbers are 1 hour, 4, and 5 hours, with a frequency of 5. So the standard deviation and distribution curve. The standard deviation was 2.17, and the data is slightly skewed to the right, with that exception of 16 students with a total average of 2 hours socializing outside of school. So here is our box and whisker plot. It shows the distribution of the data set throughout the summary of 5 numbers from our data, which is the minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. So here you can see that the minimum is 0 and the maximum is 9. The lower quartile is 2 and the upper quartile is 5, and the median is 3. So for our margin of error analysis, our sampling technique was unbiased because we randomly surveyed 56 students at RTHS. So what we did was we sampled 14 students from each grade, 7 females and 7 males. In our survey of 56 randomly selected students, 29% said they socialize outside of school for 2 hours. So our question is, calculate the margin of error and state a conclusion. So the margin of error was positive and negative 12%. As you can see with our work to the right, our conclusion is that 17 to 41% of students socialize outside of school for 2 hours. So here's our basic probability problem. There were 56 students at RTHS that participated in the sample. What is the probability that the students at RTHS will socialize for more than 5 hours outside of school every day? So we had 10 students out of our 56 students that participated in the sample socialize for more than 5 hours, so we put that in a fraction, and what we got was 5 out of 28 students will socialize outside of school for more than 5 hours. Here's our standard deviation problem. What is the standard deviation of this data if the mean is 3.59 and a possible outlier is anything more than 10.1? So as you can see in the work, we took 3 standard deviations away from the mean, and we represented that as 3x because we don't know the standard deviation. That's what we're solving for. And then we added that to 3.59, which was the mean, which would find you your outlier, which is 10.1. So you subtract 3.59 from both sides, and you get 3 times the standard deviation equals 6.51, and then you divide both sides by 3, and you get that your standard deviation is 2.17. So, a few facts and discoveries that we found from our data was that using the standard deviation, we found that there were no actual outliers in our data. On average, females socialize more than males by 3 hours, or by a difference of 0.1 in their means. On average, the upperclassmen socialize more than the underclassmen by 57 hours, or by a difference of 2.04 in their means. 2/7 of the students socialize outside of school for 2 hours. And on average, our THS students socialize outside of school for about 3.5 hours. So for this survey, our conjecture was that students socialize more inside of school than they do outside of school. And we counted that as socializing for less than 5 hours. So we did reach our conjecture. 66% of students surveyed socialize for less than 5 hours outside of school. This leads us to conclude that the majority of students at RTHS generally socialize with friends inside of school rather than outside.